Hello, welcome. So today we're going to be reading through some Am I the Butthole submissions. If that sounds like your kind of thing, then stick around and enjoy. So first off, we have Am I the Butthole for telling my friend she can get back in touch when she stops being perpetually busy. So, long story short, I've had it with one of my friends. We've known each other for about 12 years, met at uni, now we're mid-30s. She's the permanently busy type. If you know, you know. Always doing something, can't be alone with her thoughts for 1 second, hyper extroverted, etc. She's a nice person, but that pattern of compulsive busyness got on my nerves from the start. Like after we graduated, she worked part-time. That's it. For extra money, she let out the other 3 bedrooms in her house. No kids, no dogs, no serious partners, no ailing relatives. And despite working 2 to 3 days a week from 8 to 3, she was almost impossible to get hold of. I lived 30 minutes away on foot, and we'd still see each other every 3 to 4 months at best. And every time the spiel was, I know it's been ages, but I'm just so busy. A few years ago, I moved, so we're now in different countries. I tried to stay in touch via WhatsApp, but even that's fallen apart. Over the lockdown, she got married and had 2 kids, so you can imagine how hard she is to get a hold of now that she actually has responsibilities and isn't just busy being busy. So, for the past year now, our interactions have dwindled down to me sending life updates and asking about hers, and her getting back weeks later if I'm lucky. Months later, or not at all if I'm not. With a generic, sorry, been so busy, but you're in my thoughts, how are you? Meanwhile, she's still pretty active on social media and regularly posting about all the fun things she gets up to with all those other people. So, to cut a long story short, I decided that this means she's just not interested and trying to tell me nicely. I mean, how else am I supposed to take barely answering me? And if so, mostly just to remind me for the 1,000,000th time of just how busy she is, while simultaneously showing off all the things and people she does miraculously find time for. Now, here's the kicker. She messaged me about 3 months ago after my last message, once again with a generic, so sorry, so busy, how are you? And I chose not to respond. I'm over it. A month later, last week, it was my birthday, and she sent a birthday message and sounded quite upset I hadn't responded to the previous one. I responded by telling her what I said in this title. What's the point of messaging you anyway, when I already know how it's gonna go? I'll pass. Let me know if you ever get less permanently busy and can keep in touch or more substantial level than getting back to me months later just to remind me of how busy you are. I heard through the grapevine, mutual friends, acquaintances, that she's upset at how I talked to her. But I don't think I'm in the wrong here. Am I obligated to keep making an effort for someone who just can't or won't reciprocate? And for frick's sake, isn't it bizarre to get upset when someone you clearly don't care enough about to make an effort to include in your life lets go? Edited to add update in comments. And we will read that update, but let's have a look at the comments first. So this first comment says, not the asshole, the friendship has changed and it's clear you two have different priorities. It sounds like you don't understand her motivations for keeping busy, and she doesn't sound like she's particularly good at carving out quality time for you. I don't think your message wasn't particularly tactful. It definitely reads as salty and bitter. I mean, your post on whole sounds that way. Yeah, it does. Friendships change as you get older, and you can either build something new that's substantial for the both of you or move along with respect and fondness for the friendship you had. Yeah, it just sounds like 2 people who haven't really got a compatible lifestyle, to be honest. It doesn't sound like anyone in particular is being an asshat. Like, you're not as busy as she is, but just because you don't have as busy of a schedule as she doesn't mean she can't be busy. Like you said before, oh, now she's got a family, she actually has a reason to be busy. Well, she probably had a reason to be busy before. Not everyone is the chill type. Some people just can't sit down. That's okay. Now, on the other end, this person says, you are the butthole. You come across as angry and bitter. Some people are genuinely busy. Not having a partner, kids, isn't an indicator people aren't busy, as that seems to be the only grace you offer. Yeah, exactly. Some people are just bad at communicating. Some people occasionally need time away from people and use busy as an excuse. I do that all the time. I'm so bad at keeping up with people, but I just haven't got the mental energy half the time. Your comments just reinforce how bitter you actually are as well. Busy shtick. So here's that update from the OP. Whoa, so this has been a learning experience. Thank you all for your perspectives. I didn't expect this to blow up like that. I'll try to respond to everyone, but it could be tricky with how fast the comments are pouring in and my not so great attention span. Ironic in a post when I'm bitching about someone being busy, huh? Yeah, very ironic. So, the main things I took away were: I should address the issue like that more head on and earlier before they fester it into a whole ugly feelings bomb. Yes, absolutely. 2, I did in fact feel some contempt for her constant talking of how busy she was. When most of it was self-selected, it felt like a martyr act. And envy for how I was constantly prioritised below other things. Yeah, which is understandable. Pain for being called friend while not being given what I would consider the friend treatment, like space in someone's life. And resentment for feeling like I'm being treated like an idiot who somehow can't tell I'm so busy, followed by 17 TikToks, is just code for I'm not that bothered. 3, a friendship that has any significant contempt, resentment, envy, anger, or any other negative feeling is not the look when you're in your 30s. Absolutely. 4, I am still pretty harsh, even when, in my perception, I'm pulling my punches. And if so, many other people see that. I guess it's more likely that I really do have more aggression than I think, than that they are all overreacting. Yeah, I think you're just very easily offended by this, and she's just someone who's always on the go. And I just think you're just not compatible as friends, really. 5, many people on Reddit can't read. Many people on the internet can't read. I mean, sometimes I miss things too. It's human nature. There were a lot of insightful comments and questions that made me think hard about myself, but there were also plenty that completely missed the point and or put words in my mouth. Thank you all. Edited to add, thank you for the awards. I'm humbled. Yeah, I think realistically what's going on here is you're getting too offended and you're thinking that it's like something that she's doing on purpose to slight you. Whereas I think she's just the sort of person that's always on the go and likes to be with other people that are always on the go too, which is why obviously she seems to be doing all sorts with other people, but not too much with you. It's just one of those things where you are two very, very different people, and sometimes a friendship just can't be maintained in that sense. Sometimes opposites are great, other times not so much. I'm iffy on this one. I'm not sure whether you're the butthole or not. I think it's a bit of both. Next post: would I be the butthole if I don't tell her that the chocolate contains sugar? Hello, my partner, F, in her 30s, is quite into sport and not much into sweets. She stopped eating added sugar completely about a year ago. She doesn't have a medical constitution, but just realised that she's doing way better without sugar. She also doesn't restrict my eating. For example, when we went for a fancy cake place I wanted to go to, she also ate cake, but was feeling a little nauseous afterwards. So she's not completely strict, as sometimes she enjoys honey or if I bake something. Example. Now to my dilemma. Every weekend she makes coffee for us and does a special blend. When she made it before, she used cocoa powder, but changed to dark chocolate shavings. It's really, really nice, but I realised some days ago that she doesn't know that there's sugar in them. She eats her yogurt topped with them and is beaming with joy when telling me they don't contain sugar. They do. She just had the wrong column when checking them. I really love seeing her happy, and I researched before, and the chocolate shavings without sugar are 1, expensive, and 2, I'm actually not able to eat them due to intolerance. I also really support her otherwise when cooking, baking, etc. I check twice as not to include sugar. I realise, on the other hand, that she's mostly checking for glucose and doesn't care about fructose. Sugar's sugar though. It's all sugar. So, would I be the butthole if I don't tell her that there's sugar in her newfound joy? Edit to fix typos. 2, edit, thanks guys, I just needed a nudge to make the right decision. I'm at her place tomorrow and I will talk to her. Yeah, because you do need to say to her, because if she's making a conscious choice not to eat it and she hasn't realised and you have, the right thing to do would just be like, oh, you realise this has sugar in it, right? She could just make yours with those ones and then she could have the alternative without sugar in. There's no biggie. If you're intolerant, then you could just use both. You don't have to be one or the other. 3rd edit. To clarify, yes, she knows that there are no different types of sugar. As I mentioned before, it's about added glucose. Yes, she knows that there are different types of sugar. As I mentioned before, it's about added glucose. Yes, she is capable of reading. No, she's not stupid, as the package has 2 different columns as it's baking chocolate, and one type of them has no added sugar but sweetener. Yes, I know that there are also health risks when consuming too much sweetener. It was a simple question, guys. Yeah, fair enough. So in the comments we have info. Why not just say, I think dark chocolate still has a little bit of sugar in it and leave it at that? Someone else says, "Hey sweetheart, I was just reading the back of the packet and apparently has 1 milligram of sugar per kilogram. I didn't notice that when I read the first time," so that's what they're suggesting to say. And then someone else commented, "But she isn't a sweetheart because she barely eats sugar." Next post, am I the butthole for choosing not to spend my day off with my family? I, 43M, and my wife, 40F, have 2 sons, 10 and 14-year-old. We both work from 9am to 5 to 6pm, even later sometimes. The boys have after-school activities almost every day, so after work we usually drive them to or from somewhere. Then there's the helping with homework, cooking, house chores, etc. The weekends, though, less busy, are also filled with chores, driving, visiting family, and such. In sum, we have little time for ourselves as a couple and almost no time alone individually. Yeah, and you need that time alone, especially when you have kids. It's good to have some time alone or time to yourselves. It does your brain good. This year, my company is giving everybody their birthday off. What a good company! You don't hear of places doing that very often, do you? Mine is a Monday a couple of weeks from now. When I told my family this, they were excited. My wife said that I should swing by her workplace in order for us to have lunch together. The kids said that I should pick them up from school to have lunch. I said sorry, but I was planning on having the day to myself. Yes, sometimes you have to prioritise time to yourself and people need to understand that. They were a bit disappointed and I felt a bit guilty. I love my family, but I was planning on going near the beach, walk a bit, have a nice meal, enjoying the ocean view, hearing no other sounds but the waves and the seagulls. Besides, I'll be spending my actual birthday with them. We're going away for the weekend. So Reddit, am I the butthole for being kind of selfish and wanting to spend a day alone? Let me tell you, as a parent, no you are not, absolutely not. It is really good to have that time to yourself. Time alone does your mental health the world of good, and then you can be a better parent and partner for it. So no, I don't think it's selfish at all. So let's have a look at the comments and see what they think. So the top comment says, "Not the asshole. I love my family dearly and also believe wholeheartedly in time to ourselves once in a while." Absolutely. "I usually take 1 day a year, but sometimes 2 to not be around anybody." It sounds like they're sad because they would like to spend some special time with you, so make the time another day if you can. Their reactions are mild and not asshole-ish. They'll get over it. Yeah, exactly. They'll get over it. Make some time another day. Say to them, "Oh, we'll go and do something nice another day. I just need this day for me, please." And then another commenter said, they are absolutely not the butthole. They didn't get angry or even very sad, just a bit disappointed, because the OP spelled disappointed. That did make me chuckle a little bit. Okay, last post for the day. Am I the butthole for telling my dad he chose between me and his fiancée when he prioritised her surgery over mine? I, 17F, have had a rocky relationship with my dad. My parents married after I was born, hoping to provide a stable family for me, but they divorced when I was 11 after my dad went to rehab, and things only worsened from there. During rehab, he met his current fiancée and they later had a kid, 6F. Since then, my dad has been mostly absent from my life. Whenever I have important events, he either has an excuse or doesn't show. I'd estimate he's been present for less than half of my events since their divorce. A few years ago, I was diagnosed with scoliosis, and initially surgery wasn't needed. However, my condition got worse, and I was finally scheduled for surgery on 11/20 this year. I told my dad about it months ago, expressing how much I needed his support this time, and he promised he'd be there. But later, he texted to say he planned a vacation that would keep him away until mid-December, just as my recovery period would be ending. It broke my heart, but I accepted it. What an asshat. Your dad is an asshat already just from reading that. Then, 2 hurricanes hit his vacation spot, and he told me he'd make my surgery. I felt a glimmer of hope, but then just a week before my surgery, he texted again saying his fiancée's lung cancer surgery had been scheduled for the same day, a few weeks before mine, at a hospital 30 minutes away. He said he might not make it to my surgery, but with him, might not usually means won't. Yeah, it's basically a softer way of saying I ain't coming. That is what that is. He added this wasn't about who he loved more. That message shattered me. I realised that no matter how much I hoped, he might never give me the attention and support I needed. I broke down on my kitchen floor that day. Oh, that's so sad. After sitting with my feelings, I texted him to tell him how deeply his actions hurt me. I said it wasn't only about love, but about showing care, and that he'd given me hope only to let me down again. I questioned if his fiancée's surgery had really been scheduled last minute, or if he had known about it earlier but hadn't told me. I asked him to show me he was my dad through his actions, not just his words. He responded, insisting the surgery was only scheduled the day he told me, but because he'd lied in the past to save face, I reached out to someone who might know the truth. Now, I will interject to add here that sometimes when it comes to cancers and things like that, when they pop up, sometimes they will schedule put my teeth back in. Sometimes they will schedule surgery the same day so that they're doing it, they're dealing with it, they're getting it quickly. I know there's been a few times that I've heard of it happening here in the UK. I don't know where this person's from, but I have heard of that happening before, where they've gone in for results and they've said, right, this is your result and you are being scheduled for surgery today. Come back in X amount of days and we'll do it. So it can go through that quickly, to be fair, but we'll see if this is the case. I then sent a follow-up message clarifying that my frustrations wasn't with his fiancée, it was with his ongoing absence and lack of support. I said that even if his reasons were genuine, he could have at least shown some empathy. I told him I'd hoped he'd be a better father for my half-sister than he has been for me. In a final message, I made it clear that I was done putting in all the effort to maintain our relationship on my own. I told him that if he wanted to be my dad, I would gladly be his daughter, but if he chose not to, I would be fine with that too. Yeah, very grown-up response as well. You've just laid it out flat. You said, this is what I expected. You have not done what you should do as a father. I am no longer putting in that effort. If you want to do it, you prove you can do it. But otherwise, no, I'm done. Absolutely, completely agree with that. He hasn't responded. And honestly, I'd prefer he sit with what I've said. For once, I hope he really thinks about his actions and the impact they've had on me. So, am I the butthole? No, you are not. I think it says frickin' volumes that he's not responded. What a disgusting and crap excuse for a parent he is. If one of my kids came to me when they're older and said, you've really upset me, you've done this and it's hurt me, and it was something that I'd done and really I was in the wrong. And even if I wasn't in the wrong, I'd be like, I'm really sorry that my actions hurt you. I didn't mean it that way. I'm really, really sorry. Let me make it up to you. And if it was that it turns out what I had done was wrong, I'd be on my knees groveling for them to forgive me. I would be so upset that I'd made them so upset. I would be doing everything I could to make it better and taking full blame and accountability. But as we read far too often, clearly this dad is just an absolute deadbeat, which is unfortunate for the OP. So in the comments, Chilling Storm commented saying, girl, your father hasn't shown up for you your entire life. What makes you think he is going to do it now? And furthermore, why do you allow him to have that power over you? He is not your father. He is the male who impregnated your mother. Stop elevating him to father status. The man is going to support the person who is making his life with, not the child he walked away from years ago. He doesn't prioritize you. He never will, no matter what words he uses or promises he makes. Good luck with your surgery and focus on your recovery. Yeah, I completely agree what they've said there. Maybe a bit harsh way to say it. maybe there's a nicer way to say that, but I do agree 100% with the sentiment. He's never shown up. He's never shown he will. Stop giving him your energy, because this guy does not deserve an ounce of it. And again, yeah, I reiterate that sentiment. I hope your surgery went well and your recovery is going well too. And on that note, we will leave it there for today. If you made it to the end of the video, I very, very, very much appreciate it. Thank you. I am so appreciative that you'd like to listen to me go on for this long. So if you'd like to also pop me a like and a subscribe, I would be very, very grateful. It helps me in the algorithms, and it also helps you find me again, because I do put videos up every single day. Other than that, I'm going to get off. I have to, actually, speaking about children, go and get mine soon from school. So I'm going to get off. I hope you have a good rest of your day, and thank you for listening. Goodbye.